Cool. So, yeah, let's close the gap between the XR industry and the XR community. What do I mean by that? First of all, one question just out of curiosity. Who here is already part of the XR industry? So who's working in the XR field already? Maybe you have your own company, maybe you work at a nice company. Just raise your hand, would be interesting to see. And who's on the other side? So who's someone who maybe does not work in a XR company right now, or like wants to learn more about it, and just interested in getting into that community? All right, a couple of people as well. So we have a problem right now, and basically we have on one side, we have many businesses. They are, well, most I would say, they want to hire good people, but also they want to get people to use their products, their SDKs, and many of these things. So that is definitely one side that I see a lot, and I work on with businesses and with people in the community. So I kind of have like a couple of insights on that. We have another problem. On the other side, we have a lot of students and XR enthusiasts who are trying to get into the XR industry, but they struggle to get so. So usually it's kind of like frustrating and overwhelming because there's like so many SDKs and so many headsets, so many ways and so many tools that you have to learn, but you don't know exactly what to do. So there's kind of like this gap that is there. We have a lot of people on the company sides. They want to have good talent, they want to have people to use their products, but then we also have a lot of people on the other side who wants to get into the industry who don't know how to do it. And yeah, that is costing businesses a lot of money and people a lot of time wasted basically. And after this talk, I want you to kind of like have some ideas on either if you're on the business side, like how to get actually like good talent on your company, even whether it's be to have you work for them or to get them to use a product. And on the other side, if you are on the community side, how can you actually get into the closer into the industry? So there will be three main points I want to talk about. 3 is usually a good number. And these are like things that many people can use independent of the industry you're in, really. So we will talk about social media, why it is, especially like nowadays, one of the most powerful things you can really do. The power of events, just like this one really right now, for example. And then something what we see more and more in the future, the power of influencers. So just maybe like a one-sentence introduction about myself. My name is Dinesh Punni. I am the founder and CEO of Immersive Insiders. We are an e-learning platform that teaches people how to get into the industry. So we have AR, VR, design and programming tutorials that help people to get into the industry, but we also work with companies in the XR field to showcase their SDKs, their demos, and also to help them get the talent they need. So I see our company mission as like bridging the community and the enterprise. So let's start with social media. Why do you want to be active there? Well, nowadays, and you kind of can complain that it's like unfair or it's unreasonable or people have bad attention spans or something. But it's kind of interesting, if you are not on social, you are kind of like invisible. People don't even know you exist. It's kind of crazy. Again, not saying if it's like good or bad or something like this. It's not like a moral question. It's like almost a fact that if you are having like no online presence at all, people just don't know that you exist. But it also helps you to really build an actual relationship with users. So that is something that you can really do a lot. And then the third point, also, if you are a company, it helps you a lot to kind of establish authority. But if you are someone who just like trying to share and document what you're learning, this also really helps you to be seen by these companies you may want to work for. So in general, this is something that is like really helpful. Now we know the why, but how do we actually do it? One thing that I would recommend you is, we can get overwhelmed really fast by like 10 million different platforms. There's like Instagram, LinkedIn, YouTube, Facebook, TikTok, I don't know what other else. There's like so many of these platforms. Just choose one that you kind of resonate the most with, that you just like. Could be LinkedIn most likely for most of the people here, but it could also be something like YouTube if you like if you just like to talk and do videos and stuff like this. And then just create a strategy. So for the companies, it's really like have like a schedule of like posting something 1 time a week or something like this, or even at this event, you have like so much resources to just share things. So this is something that again can be extremely beneficial to any company, but also to anyone who is just learning these kind of things right now. A couple of examples. I think most of you know at least one of these entities. So on the left side we have Ready Player Me, which is a really cool company, also a partner of mine. And they, I would say, do a phenomenal job, like a really good job on having a online presence, to be honest. Like they are super active on LinkedIn, like when there's like a big event happening, like Series B or something like this. Basically like the whole XR industry knows about it, really. And then on the other side, there's like personal profiles. Roman, good friend of mine, he's also here. And Alan Smithson, I think he might be here as well. But just like if you're in the industry, you probably have heard of these guys. And this is just like something that elevates your career in any way possible if you're just sharing what you're learning on this online platforms, really. And so that's kind of like why and how to be more present on social and why it can help you so much. The other big thing that I want to talk about is organizing and also joining local and online events. So on the social media side, you can think of it more as a long-term strategy. You won't get any benefits after like a couple of weeks or so. It just takes a lot of time to really build up. I have a following on YouTube of like 20,000 people almost now, and that took me like 3 years to just build next to working full time. So things just take time. Organizing events don't take so much time, to be honest. So this is something that, again, like you as a company, whether you see it of the perspective of the company or the perspective of an individual, you really want to create and join these kind of events. Why? Again, if you're a company and you're having an SDK that you want people to use, it helps you really to build a strong relationship with users. They actually use it, and it's not super expensive for you to build. And also, it just helps you to just have so much more content already. Let's say you do a competition or something, it's already like a couple of weeks of content that you have. On the other side, I would highly recommend anybody to join these kind of events also. These could be events like the one that we are right now, but also online hackathons, competitions, all of these things. I would arguably say that this was the #1 best thing that I did for my career. I think like 5, 6, 7 years ago, I started to attend game jams and hackathons like on a very regular basis. And this just helped me build my portfolio and just show these companies where I wanted to work in back then that I have built something already. So again, this is like a really amazing synergy for both sides. How can you do it? As a company, again, I think the best way what you can do is organize game jams and hackathons, these kind of things. It is not so much effort if you do it online and you reach a lot of people. I will give an example in a second, but I think this is like really kind of like a no-brainer already. If you have an SDK or if you have a product, or if you have even like a service, you can really build some events around it. Meetups are amazing. You can sponsor events, of course. Competitions are great too, but I would say really the main and best thing that you can do and organize and join our game jams and hackathons. So one example that was that's myself that you can see there, and I would say like the 5 biggest YouTuber on AR and VR at the moment, is at least on the creatives, like on the educational side. We all do like tutorials and game programming videos and stuff like these. And we organized the biggest game jam in the world actually a couple months ago, and it's like just insane. Like we got 600 people registering. We have 100 apps created. So our communities combined, I think we had like in total we had like 200,000 subscribers, all focused on XR. That created 100 applications, and the engagement was extremely high because we got like 1,263 ratings. So this is something that you just like think about it from a company perspective, how much value it would be to have 100 use cases. And these people just did it for free, basically. I mean, there's no incentive. You don't have to pay them like thousands of euros. This is things that they just do for fun. And then if you are someone who wants to get into the industry, having your portfolio over there is just amazing. That's something that you can always share, always show. And it is also like really good for just showing what you have built already. So these kind of things, again, can be really, really valuable for both sides. And then the last thing, that is something that I see slowly growing more and more over the time. It is working with influencers / content creators. I mean, you may now think, okay, well, I don't have like nice jewelry to show or something like this. You can use influencers in kind of like any area right now, actually, and it's also growing more and more in the technical space also. So here, I mean, don't mind the numbers. I just want to show you visually the graph that is exploding. But the creator economy is really, really growing right now. And people like all over the world, they kind of see the influencers as the near celebrities, especially like the younger generations. If you want to stay in business for like a longer time, then you also want to talk to the like now younger generations. And they are all basically on social. That's kind of the thing that I also said in the beginning. And one thing that is really also helpful is good influencers have a very loyal fan base. So if you put like a big advertising before a TV show or something like this, that will first of all cost you like hundreds of thousands of euros. But it also won't have that strong effect like being in a very specific area basically. So for example, I work with XR companies like Ready Player Me, I just mentioned, amazing partners, but also a couple of other partners, HoloLight and some other in the XR field. And it's just like hyper focused on exactly that field really. So this is something that I also see kind of like growing much more over the next couple of years really. How do you do it? Kind of simple, to be honest, just talk to them. I think I've seen a couple of others here as well, like bloggers and authors and stuff like this. Just talk to them, just be nice, respect their time. This is something I like myself with a not super big audience, but like 20,000 people now. People are just, hey, I have this video, do it. And they like, all right, maybe you just like back and forth a little bit. That would be super nice. So just like respect their time and then talk to them. Today, write them an email. It's really like nothing too complicated. And again, like also if you this is more really aimed to the companies that wants to get more exposure, that wants to get more engagement, that wants to get more people actually seeing and using their products. This is like one way that is really helpful. And again, we are really, really early. Again, there are like 5, 6, 7, 8 people on YouTube right now who do these kind of things. I'm one of these. And I think this will just explode over time. Exploding over time also means that the price will just go up over time. If I compare my prices like 1 year ago to today, it's kind of like, there are like a couple of factors increasing already. And yeah, this is like one example. I hope that you can kind of read it. It's not super big, but this is like one really cool resource. I have no affiliation with that guy, but he has like a database of XR resources really. I think the name is there, so you can just Google it. I think there he has like a list of like YouTubers and bloggers and authors and SDKs and whatever you want to need. And I'm happy that I'm listed there as well. That's why I have this resource there. And yeah, so what can you do now with this information? It's kind of like a lot of stuff. I told you like, okay, be famous on YouTube now, do LinkedIn, do content, do events, work with influencers. Like it's a lot of stuff to do really. And what are like some concrete steps that you can do? So think of your budget and your scope. First of all, I want to talk about social media. Think of it more like a long-term strategy. You won't get any big benefits in a couple of weeks or months. It can take like up to 6 months or even more to really like reap some good benefits. But they are amazing, and this is kind of like a almost no-brainer, because all of these things that you are already doing, they are very, very valuable in terms of content. So think of a content strategy. If you have any update, if you go to an event, if you do something, it's always worthy to post and to just show online. And it just helps you to grow your company a lot actually. On the midterm, I would say organizing events can be something very, very valuable, and joining events, of course. And this is something, again, if you do them online, they don't take too much effort. Like for this game jam, which was actually, which gave us like 100 applications, we all just did like one video on our channels, inviting everybody, hey, join our jam, and that's it really. There was like zero marketing spent, zero, like almost no effort on building the landing page, the website. The hosting is free, so everything is like very low commitment, but you can scale it up really high. So the entrance level is not so hard, but the results that you can get afterwards if you spend some time can be really amazing. And then lastly, influencers, you can use them like in short, mid, long term really. So you can, if you have like a big product announcement, if you have like a big update, for example, or you have a new product line that you want to show, you want to get some extra exposure, for example, that is really helpful. But then also you can think of it like long term as well. These are things that is extremely individual. So it's really like based on your needs, on how the influencer works. It is something that just like happens after a bit of back and forth. There are like no fixed packages and quotes, at least for my experience. So yeah, I think that's it really. That just QR code just links to my LinkedIn profile. So if you want to connect, just let me know. If you need any help in, let me just go back, in any of these fields, these are all things that I have been doing for many years now. I am active on YouTube and LinkedIn and Discord and stuff like this. We have organized these kinds of events and yeah, just working with XR brands also to kind of help them leverage the XR community. All right. And yeah, with that, I would leave it up to some questions.
Any questions? I have the mic.
Hi, can I just like sit down and make my question because I
Yeah, sure.
Hi, my name is Gabs Chihan Stanley. I come from Austria, Vienna, Austria, and thank you very much for your talk. It was very insightful. My question is about communities, like XR communities, as a unit, let's say. I mean, independently of a company, independently of a product behind it. Like what would you recommend if like I'm running the XR company? I have a point, I promise. I have an XR company, but at the same time I'm running the XR community in Vienna, and sometimes like it's difficult to kind of make people understand the difference between like, okay, I'm building the future of the industry together with you, and but at the same time this is exposure for my company, willingly or unwillingly. So that's one question, and the second question is, how do you find the right influencer if you're not into like gaming, so to say, in the XR industry? If you're more like, I don't know, humanity or or XR for a cause, you know? If you have any advice about this, and these are my two questions.
Yeah, absolutely. So the first question, if I understood it correctly, is like how to deal with the having the community and your own company. I think first of all, it's totally fine if they are like if both benefit from each other. Like your company should be benefiting from your community as well, because you spend like all of your time onto it. So I think it's not a big deal to kind of like, you don't have to exactly separate it. You can kind of mix them together. And on the community, of course, like if you just don't try to sell some sort of product all the time, then people will just appreciate it. So that is something that you can definitely do, like organize events and do all of these kind of things that I talked about in the talk on the community side. And then if you have like your logo or something of your company, it's totally fine. Unless you tell them, hey, you have to buy my product to join the community or something like this. I think that is totally okay to kind of have like a semi-separation there. On the second side, it's true, like most of the creators and influencers are in the gaming space right now. It's totally true. I think you find many outside of YouTube probably as well. I think you can find many on blogs, on their personal sites, on definitely LinkedIn. Like I think that's my like best tip advice. You find most of the people on LinkedIn, and if you are creating content and you are not on LinkedIn, just go there. That's the easiest way to get found and to find people, personally I would say. And yeah, then like just see someone you resonate with, who you like the content from, and then make a simple reach out. Hey, I like your content, do you want to work together? And then just see how it goes. But yeah, I think blogs are really common, and LinkedIn probably too. And maybe in the future you will see a lot of communities on Discord as well. Like we are also on Discord. That is something that is kind of like the secret tip for the future.
Hi, my name's Lee. I'm the developer relations lead at Avanade. Do you think personal branding is something that enterprise organizations can get better at? So if they've got people that want to be involved with the community, isn't it fair that we maybe train them up to give them the tools and knowledge to do that?
Absolutely, 100%. I would totally suggest you also like having your company page is amazing and everything, but especially like representatives of that company, maybe like a community lead, maybe even like the executives, maybe even the CEO. I think it's extremely beneficial to all sides, to the company, to the personal, like to the person itself, and the community that this person is also building his or her personal brand on LinkedIn, for example. Like definitely a step that I would see. Again, like with like many companies, we see it already. I also have my personal page and my company page, and actually the personal pages most of the time outperform the company pages by like a margin, just because people like to connect to people and not to entities.
Other questions? Yes.
Hi, Teemu from Spatial at XR Nation. We are also building communities around the XR area, and maybe my question is that how do you see creating a win-win scenario while you are creating a community and combining that with business that everybody wins? So you are in the middleman. How do you get the business as well as the kind of two parties there as well? How do you see that?
Yeah, that is actually quite challenging. So that's a very good question. Just because like both sides take a really like big effort, like it's like a commitment on both sides. You can kind of like trying to manage like two companies, two slightly different ones. Like even on this talk, like I'd always try to like go on this side and then on this side again. So it's definitely challenging. I think what I do personally, I try to find as many similarities as possible. So like we have this sphere, and I just try to be like in the middle, like all the time. That usually goes with like education, like training, tutorials, everything like this. Because the companies, they want to have like these good people basically, and the people they want to learn. And you as a middleman, I think education is the strongest point, but also events, for example. So if you are doing both, let's say you have your own SDK, then you can make like the community event. People are invited to use the SDK, and then they can showcase something. And at some point, if you are big enough, you can actually get sponsors. So the game jam that we did, that was actually sponsored by Unity and a couple of other small tool creators. So at some point, you really like get the financial assets and stuff like this from the outside. So you can purely focus on giving both sides the best that you can without trying to kind of like sell on each other. And at some point that will be also beneficial. Like for example, if I train these people and then they get to the companies will pay the hiring fees or whatever you want to call it. And then the other side, they will pay the training, for example. So you're kind of the perfect spot in the middle, but it's not as easy as it may sound.
All right, that's all we have time for today. Thank you, Dinesh.
All right.
We'll give him one more round of applause. All right. Thank you.